One. Sweet. We have Lisa Stevens. Check her out on YouTube, Instagram, and all that jazz. Lisa Stevens, thank you for joining today. First and foremost, how did you get started as reseller, and when did you start reselling?
Well, it's kind of funny because I actually have always loved thrifting my whole life, but it never occurred to me that I could actually turn it into a job. But a few years ago, I was going through a divorce, and I just happened to be like watching videos on YouTube, and I saw an interview from Empty Hanger, and she was talking about how same thing, like she always loved thrifting, and she saw someone else was doing it, and she started trying it, and it was like a light bulb went off, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could actually do this as a job. So yeah, it was about 3 years ago, and I started actually going thrifting and reselling online. But I had been selling on Poshmark and eBay, like things for my own home, so it was like really easy for me to transition into doing it as a career. So
Snowballed pretty quick.
Yeah, it did. It got addicting really fast. So
is most of your finds at a thrift store still, or are you looking at other ways to source?
Well, I have a 2-year-old right now, so I don't get to go thrifting as often as I would like to. She's just a handful. So I I go about once a week is all. So I do fill in the holes with my sourcing online a lot. I use ThredUp quite a bit and the RealReal. And then I do bulk buys sometimes, but thrifting is still the one that I love the most. It's the most fun for sure. So.
Definitely the treasure hunts, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then that's super interesting. On ThredUp and the RealReal, like how are you looking for products? Obviously we've done a lot of Goodwill, Shop Goodwill, and those items. How are ThredUp and RealReal's items priced compared to other marketplaces?
So for the RealReal, I like just, obviously they're all higher end items. So I like shopping on there when they do like coupons and discount codes, and you can stack them sometimes. So you can end up getting really good deals. Usually when I shop on the RealReal, I'm only finding like 2 or 3 pieces at a time. I'm not buying a large quantity, but those 2 or 3 pieces, I might, make $50 to $100 per item on the flip. So, but with ThredUp is really easy to find good deals because they, I feel like they mark their items really, really low. So it's almost like thrift store pricing a lot of times, especially when they do their coupon codes and their sales and discounts. So yeah.
Interesting.
But
shoot.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, at what price point are those items normally at? ThredUp and RealReal, like what's the cost of goods?
So for the RealReal, it's a little higher. Usually I'm paying, depending on the item, because they do have some non-luxury brands, a few of them, like they carry North Face and Reformation and stuff like that. So, but normally I'm paying more like $20 to $40 per item on the RealReal. But ThredUp, I can get items from ThredUp for like $3 to $10. So
really,
yeah, they're really, really cheap. Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's so interesting. Yeah. Are you going to try to focus more on that online sourcing continuously? Because obviously you're a 2-year-old, correct? Are you trying to focus on anything else, or just basically how can I source more online and then be able to process those faster?
I think it's a combination of both. I think that's the thing about reselling and really just being a business owner. You're always having to kind of change your strategy. So right now my strategy is mostly shopping online because that's just the time that I have. But using HAMMOQ, I've actually been able to now go sourcing more often, because previously when my daughter was napping or things like that, that's when I was listing. And now that I'm not listing anymore, I'm taking that time to go sourcing more. So it is opening me up a little bit to be able to do more in-person sourcing. But in order to grow to the quantities that I want to be able to grow, I kind of have to do both right now. So
interesting. And excuse me, your daughter's 3, not 2. That's my bad on that side. But yeah.
Oh no, she's 2. She just turned 2.
Okay,
yeah.
I have my notes. I'm like, okay, wrong area. Perfect. Sweet. And then you've been doing a lot of makeup. Is it mostly clothing, makeup, are your main finds?
Actually clothing is mostly what I do now. So I actually used to work at Sephora, and my YouTube channel used to be a beauty related channel. Okay. So I know a lot about makeup. So if I come across makeup that's a good deal, I will, you know, pick it up. And I do go to that section of the thrift store first because I have that knowledge. So I do that, but I don't find as many of those deals as, you know, clothing and shoes is just, there's plenty of that out there. So that's mostly what I'm flipping.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then in terms of kind of your like next 2-3 years in the resale, like what are you trying to, do you have any kind of goals? Is it like a monetary goal? Is it a revenue goal? Or is it just keep freeing up as much time as possible?
My goals right now, like in the short term, I'm planning to get a storage unit. As you can see, the mess behind me, my office and inventory is in my daughter's like playroom. So it's just always chaos in here. So yeah, my first goal is I want to get a separate storage space so I can have like my own place for my inventory. And also I've kind of reached capacity for what I can hold here. So that's my next goal. And then once I do that, I feel like I can start listing more. Because right now I'm only listing about 10 items a day because I don't have places to put more than that. So, so that way I can start growing my store even larger. Yeah, and then I have like other little goals. Like I started on Poshmark, so all of my listings are on Poshmark. And eBay, I haven't been doing as long, so I'm still trying to cross post everything and make sure that I have all my listings on every platform, that's kind of a little thing I'm going through right now and getting caught up on. So.
And what do you find your most sales coming from right now? Obviously, you still cross listing a lot over to eBay, but are you finding eBay starting to get you more sales than Poshmark, or?
Poshmark's still my #1 right now, but eBay is getting close. It's closing in on Poshmark. So go ahead.
How many listings on both do you have?
I'm currently at 1,900 listings on Poshmark, and about only 1,200 of those are on eBay.
Okay, you're catching up. Damn.
Yeah.
Moving fast too.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then, so that storage unit, I was there as well. Like your house is getting filled out really fast.
Yeah.
How big a storage unit are you trying to look for? And is it just to basically have that space as much as you possibly can and then build off of that? Is that kind of your game plan?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't really thought about the size yet. I kind of have to figure out like, you know, how many shelves I'm going to need so that I can figure out exactly what size storage that I'm going to be needing. But I haven't taken any steps forward in that yet. I was kind of getting started with HAMMOQ so that I could turn that over and have some time freed up for me to work on it. But yeah, what was the second part of the question? I don't remember.
Just about the scale and kind of like, it's just basically figure out time. You answered it as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 100%. And then let's kind of jump back even to the beginning of even your YouTube career. So going through your YouTube just in general, like what got you started in like the makeup space?
Actually, so when I first started on YouTube, that was like, oh my goodness, 6 or 7 years ago. I can't remember exactly now. It was quite a long time ago. And even though I was kind of doing beauty videos, it was more like my first series, the reason I launched my YouTube channel is I wanted to talk about how to get free stuff. And makeup was something that was interesting to me. So I did this whole series called How to Get Free Makeup. And I actually talked about Poshmark on there. And I talked about an old site called Listy. I don't even know if that's around anymore. And all these different, like almost like reselling stuff. But I was just talking about using coupons and just creative ways to like earn free stuff that I then use to buy makeup. And that kind of started it. And then I started working at Sephora. So then my channel kind of evolved into more high-end makeup and more like tips and like tutorials and things like that. But after a while, I just kind of felt like it wasn't authentic to me anymore. I wasn't wearing makeup every day. It wasn't as exciting. And you get to a point when you're in the beauty community, you get to a point where you just have such a massive quantity of makeup and it just feels so wasteful. So what I was actually doing was selling some of my excess on Mercari, because Poshmark, you can't sell used makeup even if you sanitize it. But that's one of the things that I was doing to get free makeup and stuff. I would sell what I didn't want and buy other things and stuff. So, but yeah, after a while, I just kind of felt like I was doing the same videos over and over again, and it got a little boring. And so that is why I kind of switched into doing reselling videos. And for a while I was doing both. I was doing reselling and makeup videos. But I just found my audience was like, not sure if they wanted to stick around because I was just doing too many different things. So I decided to focus just on reselling because that was more interesting to me. So.
And then just in terms of that, like we talked about as your audience kind of split at that point.
Yeah.
On YouTube, usually people should just go at one niche and then go down that niche as hard as much as they possibly can. Kind of, can you flesh out that idea? That's super interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, it was kind of hard, honestly, to transition for a while. Like I kept doing beauty because I was like, I don't know if people are going to want to watch a different type of content from me. But a lot of my subscribers have, stuck around and are still watching the videos. And it's funny because a lot of them were not into reselling and now they're trying it out just like part-time, selling stuff from their house. But it's kind of fun to watch how many people were interested in switching gears with me. So that was pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm checking out some of the videos. Like 200,000 views. You had a lot of views. Dang.
Yeah.
Crazy. Awesome.
It's funny though, some of my Poshmark videos actually are up there with some of my top ranking videos too. So it's kind of a combination of both the makeup and the Poshmark.
No, yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Have you seen like this reselling niche starting to grow and more just from your personal experience?
Totally. I feel like a lot of people are catching on to it and realizing that buying secondhand is sustainable. And I feel like it is a very trendy thing right now, whether or not you want to be a reseller. I think a lot of people are interested in the topic in general. So I feel like it is growing quite a bit.
Awesome. And then first and foremost, thanks for being a HAMMOQ client. Awesome. Anything that we can work on that side that you'd want to see, anything that we can get better at? It's like we're more than obviously, we're trying to get as much input as possible as well.
That is a good question. Nothing that I can think of quickly off the top of my head. I'm still kind of getting used to, how to utilize it best for my business. I have used other like VA services in the past. And I feel like what you guys are doing is, I like that it's specifically for reselling. That has been really nice because I feel like your VAs know how to build a listing really well and I don't have to go back and forth with them, So, but yeah, for me, it's more like I need to figure out, how many listings I want to give you guys every day and, how to build it into my business to really utilize it the best that I can. So.
100%. Again, we're shooting as much. We're trying to increase what we can do as best as possible, and try to make it so it's as streamlined as possible. There's no hiccups across the board.
Yeah, I haven't had many at all. So and most of the things that I've had were like little things where I would forget a photo I needed to upload with the size or something, and that's the only back and forths I've really had. It's been really smooth for me. So.
Sweet. I'm glad to hear that. We can we can jump back in. And then look at some of the videos you had. Do you still shop at Plato's Closet a lot? And how are the deals at these consignment stores?
I wish I could shop there more often. Unfortunately, the closest one to me is 40 minutes away. So it's really not, it's not a viable option for me, especially with my time being so limited. When I do go sourcing outside of the home, I have an hour like round trip. So I can't spend 40 minutes driving. So yeah, unfortunately I don't go there very often. I'll swing by if I'm like in the area, I'll swing by, but we don't have any good consignment stores near me. I wish we did.
I mean, where are you located at? Roughly, at least.
Just about an hour north of Seattle.
Very cool. So you're up East Coast. Okay, nice.
Yeah, then, West Coast. Yeah.
Oh, West Coast. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, I live in Arizona. It's West Coast as well. Cool. And then actually, I kind of looking at some of these videos, want to jump back into your online sourcing. How are you picking through deals? Obviously, you talked about those coupons. What can people look for with those coupons? Obviously, I don't give your secret sauce away, but like, what are you looking for those coupons, and how are you sorting through the deals? Are you going by brand and then going down, or is it basically new items that come up on these secondary sites?
So it depends on the site. For the RealReal, a good tip is sign up for their promotional deals, because I don't know how often it is. It seems like it's kind of random, but they will send out a $30 off coupon that you can use on anything. So you could find something that's $35 and use the $30 off coupon and spend only $5 plus shipping, but still it's a really good coupon. So sign up for that. And on the RealReal, I usually sort by sale, because they have good brands. Like everything on there is a good brand. So I sort by sale, and I think you can sort by largest discount, and that's usually what I do on that site. When I'm on ThredUp, they just have massive quantities of everything, and they have all kinds of brands from like Target up to designer. So I will always search by brand on there. They do also have the ability to shop by designer. So sometimes I'll just go to their designer section and then sort by the lowest price and see what's kind of down there. But I do find right now, at least, most of what's down there is like career apparel, which nobody is really buying. So you kind of have to scroll till you find something that's, you know, more trendy and more desirable currently. But that's usually how I shop on those sites.
No, first and foremost, good tips and tricks. I can see where the old videos meet the new videos in terms of the couponing and searching for deals. That's awesome.
Yes, I never pay full price for anything. I'm kind of cheap like that. So ever since when I grew up in a large family, there were 5 kids in our family. So my parents didn't really spend a lot of money on us. So once I got my first job, I would go to the thrift store to buy clothes because I wanted nicer things instead of the hand-me-downs from my sisters. And so yeah, I learned from a young age how to like look for deals, and I've just always been that way. So
a good something that pointed me is like, you don't want to be you should be frugal, not cheap, right? Like frugal. I love being frugal as much as possible, right? Live below your means as much as possible. Try to get those deals. Obviously, as resellers, we know it's all about the buy, not the sell. The sell does help, but it's how can we buy the cheapest items make the most money across the board?
Totally, yeah. And you can find amazing things, so it's not like you're really, sacrificing quality, but yeah.
You just got to find it at the secondary spot, right? Instead of going paying full retail. I don't pay full retail for anything anymore.
No reason to.
And then you talked about in a couple of your videos buying pallets. Are you still trying to get into that, or is that kind of gone to the wayside?
So I haven't actually bought like a pallet from a wholesaler. I bought a few pallets from the Goodwill outlet. Okay. And those were extremely successful. That is one of the reasons I want to get a storage unit, is because I would like to buy more of those. I just do not have the space, because when you do buy those pallets, you have such a large quantity that you have to bring home to sort. I just don't have the space to do that right now. So I'm actually planning to get married next month, but after that, I'm going to probably buy another pallet. I just wanted to wait till, I have the time to do it. So yeah, that's kind of my plan, is once we get back from our honeymoon, I'm probably going to get a storage unit and buy some more pallets. Those pallets were extremely successful. I made a lot of money from them. So I'm definitely going to do more of those.
Let's break down that then. Like, was it mostly clothes, or what was in those pallets?
So you can, from my location, they offer a bunch of different options, but I chose their accessory pallets. So it was mostly handbags. They did have other things like belts and accessories in there as well, but like 90% of it was handbags and like backpacks and things like that. So I got a lot of really good brands too in there. I got a lot of Coach and Michael Kors and Dooney, and just like the area that I live in, there's a lot of people with money, so it was really good quality. And then of course a large quantity. And I think I'm trying to remember now, they had a sale one of the days that I went, but I think their normal price is $250 for a pallet of accessories. So it's a really good price. It's really good deal. Yeah.
Roughly how many units did you get in that pallet? Obviously you can ballpark.
Oh yeah, it really varied, because one of the pallets I got was almost all like suitcases and larger bags. So it was, it was like, it depended on the, size of the items in there, but I would say at least 100 to 200. So
we have a few people that do similar things, but they usually use shoes on that side, and they say about 30%. They get about 30% are good inside those pallets, and the other 70% are not as good as good as they want to sell. Is that sort of the same in terms of the accessories, or was most of the items in good quality?
So I think I got lucky with my first pallet because it was like almost everything in there was sellable, and it was almost all purses. And then my second, I think it was 3 pallets that I bought after that. Those 3 were not quite as good, but I would still say at least 50% of what I got was sellable. The nice thing about buying it from the outlet, they let you sort there. So I left everything I didn't want to sell with them and just brought home the sellable stuff, which was really nice. Because then, you know, when you get home a bunch of stuff that you don't want, then you're making all those trips to the Goodwill to donate things or to the dump if it's not, you know, if it just needs trashed. So yeah, that's a nice thing about buying those pallets. But I don't know if it's available everywhere. You'd have to check with your local Goodwill outlet if they do them, but it is a good deal.
Yeah, first of all, that's smart to actually redonate the items while you're still there. That's a good move. Did you just sort through the box while you're there and then just pull them out?
Yes, yeah, and I do have a video that shows the whole process if anyone's curious about how it works. But they give you like an empty bin. If you've been to the Goodwill outlet before, one of their blue bins, they give you an empty one. You put everything you don't want in there, and then they give you carts to load the rest up into your car, and you can just take as long as you want to sort through it all and leave anything behind that you're not interested in. So
is it the video with that I bought 3 pallets from the bins? Is that the video?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, we'll make sure we tag that below as well so people can
thank you.
That out. No, yeah, super good information across the board. In terms of like, so after honeymoon, you were going to get scale up a little bit, get a storage unit. Any other plans that you're looking to move the needle in the resale business?
Yeah, I do actually want to try like a pallet from a wholesaler. I've been doing some research and trying to find a good one. I think that's the hardest part of buying a wholesale pallet, besides of course sorting and all of that, but trying to find a good one. I think a lot of the ones that are promoted online are not necessarily that great from what I've seen. It's kind of a hit or miss, but it seems like the majority of them are not that good. And when I have such great sourcing opportunities near me locally, I don't want to spend that much money on such a high risk. So I've been just kind of searching. That's something I would eventually like to do if I can find a good source for it.
It's kind of interesting. And this is kind of like subtopic. We were reaching out. We've actually talked to like B-Stock and these other large players. A lot of those people that are giving the liquidation deals, what's happening is they're getting these they're buying truckloads from like B-Stock, Amazon, like those items, and then they're just splitting them up at a higher cost after they pick through a lot of the higher end items. It's an interesting like sub world that's happening with.
Totally, yeah, and you can tell from some of the videos that you're watching that that's what's happening. And yeah, I don't want to invest the amount of money that it takes to invest in those too, and then have to be stuck with a bunch of stuff you can't sell, or this is going to take forever to process and sell for like $10 to $15 a piece. That's just not worth my time. So I've been really picky in looking into those lots, and I just haven't found one that I decided to go for yet. So hopefully I'll find a good vendor, but we'll see.
And then do you ever think, do you want to hire staff, like a photographer or somebody to do your shipping in the near future, or do you kind of want to run this like on your own?
I think that's kind of what I wanted to do with the whole VA, is outsource as much as I can to a VA service. I don't know. I have not thought about hiring an actual person to come into my house. I think because there's so much chaos in my house already. I don't know if anyone would want to come into my house. You can see just a little corner of it. But yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of using a VA service. I especially like, with HAMMOQ, with what you guys are doing, if I have a day where I'm really busy and I only have time to photograph 5 items, I can just send those 5 over. And then the next day, if I have extra time and I'm doing 20, then I can send 20 over. I like that flexibility. But if you have an actual employee, it takes prep to, get stuff, to have stuff there ready for them to do. And I don't always have that consistency that I would be able to give to someone, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. No, we fully get you on that side. That's
Yeah.
it's kind of a mix of people that either they start hiring a photographer or they do it themselves. It's kind of the preference of the business and like how big you want it to become, right?
Right.
Along those lines. But
Totally.
again, sourcing is my favorite thing, so I just like the sourcing aspect of it across the board.
Yeah, me too. I think that's everyone's favorite. Well, maybe not. There might be some people who it's not their favorite, but
Some weirdos out there, you never
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, I can't imagine liking any other part more. The sourcing is definitely the most fun.
Awesome, awesome. That's all the questions I had today. And again,
Okay.
first and foremost, Lisa, thank you for jumping on this call. We'll post that link below with the 3 pallets from the bins video. Anything else on your end that you want to kind of give a shout out to? Any promotion, your Instagram, your YouTube, anything else that you want to give a shout out to?
No, I'm good. Thank you though. I appreciate you having me on.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem.